Hello everyone. Probably noticed my table's kind of cleared out a little bit. Well, I'm going to move the stones. This one probably doesn't have to be moved because I got something that I found at a flea market. Don't know if it works. Guess we'll find out together. It is a Texas Hold'em game, or not game, but pre-flop advantage. So we're going to press the on button. I put new batteries in it because the batteries it came with were in the package corroded, not in the actual calculator. Well, it came on. Two pair. Okay. Now, I'm not really sure exactly how this works, but I think clear this and put clear off that deuce, put ace king suited, and it's telling me that if you draw an ace two king suited, try to get a little light on it, you have a 65.25% chance of winning when there's two players. Now let's see how this changes. We'll clear this out and we'll change the players to say 7. So if you have an ace king offsuit, according to this, you have the 10 out of 169 chances. I think that means 10th best. But with 7 other players, there's a 23.05% chance you're winning the hand by cards in the draw. I think that's how this thing works. Now, everyone knows you've got more players, these percentages really drop. Now, most people always say the deuce 7 or 7 deuce offsuit is the worst possible hand you can start with, which this thing says it is, 169th out of 169th. And it's saying there's only a 3.98% chance you're winning the hand. Now, the way you win is if deuces and 7s come up on the flop. And you get a 2 pair or a full house. If you get a full house with deuces and 7s on the board, you're probably going to end up winning because you have a deuce and a 7 and no one can get 4 of the like of the deuce or 7. And it'd have to take a runner for you to lose at that point. Let's just try a few other ones. Let's say you get a pair of aces. That's the best hand to get, and it says you have a 30.98% chance of winning. Now let's clear this off. Let's say you get something different. A 10-8 suited. Now it's saying you have a 12% chance of winning on before the flop. Aggressive betting though can make people fold out of a hand because they think you got something big, especially if you're usually a tight player. But at least this thing does work. I'm not really sure how old it is because on the back it doesn't have a manufacture date stamp on it anywhere. I assume it was made back in the at least 10 or 15 years ago when poker was on TV quite a bit and people were watching it. I mean, it's when they're playing in the final table at the World Series of Poker, and you're on the final table, and if you win, you're going to get millions of dollars. It's a pretty big deal because there's a lot of pressure on that when you're playing. Let's say you get a king queen suited. It's the 7th best hand according to this. 17.12% chance of winning. Now, let's just back that up slightly and say they're offsuits. Drops quite a bit to the 21st best hand. Because if you get suited, king, queen suited, and an ace of the same suit drops, and then a couple other spades or whatever suit it is, you have a flush, and since you have the king, queen, it becomes a nut flush unless someone else has the jack 10, and then they'll have a royal, and then, or at least a straight, possible. Well, they would have a straight at that point and be a royal, and that's the best hand you can get in poker, unless you're playing with wild cards and all kinds of other rules. But this thing was $1, so the fact that it still works is kind of neat. But what this thing was for, if you play online, you could set this up inside your computer, play, and when you get a hand and you're not real sure how good it is, you can quickly type in what it is. Jack 10 offsuit. It's the 50th best hand, so it's not a great hand, but if no one really bets big on the before the flop and you are in the big blinds, they don't raise you, they just call you. You'll stick around for the flop and maybe you'll get lucky with some good cards. Some more jacks and tens. Anyway, I think I spent pretty much enough time on this. It does work. Wait a second, what did that? I don't see any dates or nothing on it, but it did work. Let's talk about the other thing I got today. These are little gold-toned, what's they call these? Charms. Bought them at a flea market, which is where I got this too. 29 cents. There's 3 of them in it. Likeness of Queen Elizabeth II. It's probably the only reason why I bought it. I have these other charms that they're not gold tone. It says Queen Elizabeth II on them. They're kind of neat. Of course, the anchor. And the anchor with the rope, which is kind of neat looking. Keep it in my hand. All right. Last thing I'm going to talk about is this. This is my month of April change that I got from going around buying stuff that I normally buy. Anything that isn't a very big purchase, I usually use cash. If I'm going to some place like Walmart, I'll probably use the card. But if I'm just buying 1 or 2 items from Dollar Tree, I'm going to use cash. So this is a pretty thick amount of coin in this. This is about a quarter full of this container, which is a good sized container. So I'll count this stuff up, look for West Point Mint, pull out copper pennies. That one might not be. There's some in here. A hold of one that is actually copper. Usually they stand out pretty well because they have a different look to them. Of course, some of the ones from the 80s that aren't fully copper kind of look like they're starting to take on toning and stuff. Here we go. This one's copper, 1974. And last time I checked, this is worth about 2.5 cents in copper. not legal to melt it or nothing, but you can keep it from your change and put it in a container. And if it ever does get to where you can melt them, you could melt them. Although, God, you'd have to have a lot of copper to make much of anything. You'd have to have millions of these to really be worth your much effort, and even then, it's questionable effort. Questionable whether it's worth the effort, that is. Now, what I'm also looking for is certain 2020 coin. Now, if I flip this 2020 bat over to the face side and it's got a W, well, it doesn't. But if it had a W on it, it'd probably be worth at least about $8. I found one in my change about a month or two ago, and it's took 4 years to find one in the wild, and most months we'll probably get about this much change. So you're going through $40 or $50 worth of change every month looking for them, and you never find one. Well, it's kind of crazy, but that is what it is. All right. This is what I've been collecting my copper pennies in. This is starting to get kind of heavy. Now, I dropped it. The lid took all the beating. The glass didn't break, luckily. This is probably close to about half full. The bottom's wider than, and it slims up towards the top. Now, this particular coffee jar is instant coffee. It's a neat looking jar. They also make this with a square type jar, and once this is full, I'm going to take the pennies out of it and see if the square jar can hold as much as a round jar with pennies, because with the coffee, crystal chunks, it's the same volume, but coins fit in here. Different rounded coins and a rounded edge means it probably will hold more once it's full than what the one that isn't rounded is. All right. I hope that everyone's having a good night. And I'm just happy that this thing actually worked. I'm going to have to look it up and see when they made these. Luckily, I had a computer right here. It did not take long to find one online. Somebody's trying to sell one on eBay for $10.80. So getting it for $1, I think I didn't do too bad. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and probably end this live stream a little bit early tonight. I do have some stuff to do. I want to thank AG Stacker 1776 for his continued support of my channel, Old Country Coin Collector, and Frosty. Go check out their channels and like and subscribe if you like their content. And if you like my content and you're not subscribed, please like and subscribe to me too. So hope everyone has a good night. We will see you next time, probably next weekend. And have a good night.